back into doing it. Well, as I was saying though, originally you asked me the question about if we were doing stuff, we are leaning everything on the premise of who is this character. Everybody has, and I done it the wrong way. I shouldn't say the wrong way, but I've done it where like people write where they want to tell a story about something. They want a theme, okay, and the theme is you need to save the planet, but they have a theme and they want to write a story about it, right?
Right.
Or they think about some crazy thing that happens and they want to have it make sense, so they write a story around that, and that's I tend to write stuff like that, right? But we decided to focus on the characters themselves, make all the stuff purely character driven, right? Say you have the Mad Dozer, or we have a character, Charles McMahon, who's a kingpin, but nobody knows it. Kind of like Kingpin in Spider-Man. He's more known. This guy never really gets known. He's more like Sam Spade in Maltese Falcon. But,
gotcha.
He is okay. So you take any character, right? This guy, he makes a fortune selling a designer drug. So he's a smart guy. He worked with a lab professor. He worked with a chemist. They made a designer drug, and they made a ton of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he also grew up in a mob neighborhood that's on the border of a neighborhood where there's a fucking black gangs all over the place. Right, so he has the mob influence, and he has the influence of kids that grew up in the fucking gang neighborhood. But he kind of walks between both of them. But he's real smart, and he fucking invented this fucking thing, right? But there's different hierarchies, though. What hierarchies is he in? Okay, he has his drug business, But then he also has his home life at home where nobody knows who he is. He's just a regular Momo in the fucking neighborhood. But for him, it's by design. So what are your hierarchies? What is your job? What do you do for a living? Where's your role in your neighborhood? What's the role in your team or your group of friends or whatever it is, your hobbies, whatever it is. So this character, what are the different societies that he's in? What is the hierarchy in each of these societies? Where does he fit in that hierarchy?
Right.
Does he want to go up the hierarchy? Does he want to stay status quo? Is he just trying to keep his place? Or is he forced to try to push other people down the hierarchy?
Right.
And what behaviors and the type of hierarchy and what behaviors it takes to climb the hierarchy tells you what kind of society that you're living in.
Right.
Or that you're currently in. So what behaviors does it take for him to climb that hierarchy? And you have to do that across each thing.
Right.
If you took a character and you said, okay, what are the societies? Basically, what are the things he does and who does he do them with? Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Where does he fit into each of those levels, each of those groups? Where does he want to be in each of those groups? And what does he have to do to get to where he wants to be in each of those groups? And that pretty much is going to tell you who everybody is. And it's going to be true. It's going to be true to like what a human being, what a person would do.
Right.
And if you take each character and you map out each character with that, right? And your story is about their interactions.
Mm-hmm.
Just like life is about our interactions when we're trying to climb our own personal hierarchies.
Right. Yeah, man. Fascinating.
Yeah. It's pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah.
If you really want to make it even crazier, right? The only other thing that you could do to make it crazier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is to take each of those characters, right, and write the stories from their perspective, right? Interacting with characters that you have in other books, but in the other books, you're telling it from a different character's perspective,
right?
And you have certain points that it's in, like in chapter 2 of this person's story, but in chapter 7 of this person's story, it's the same scene.
Right.
But it's done from their point of view. So it's the same scene, but it goes completely differently in each one of the things. But it's the same thing, and they're in it together, but they're seeing the world a different way. Or maybe they're seeing it the same way.
Right.
You could really make it fucking crazy if you did that.
Absolutely. There's like a TV show that does that on Showtime. It's called The Affair.
Huh.
Did you ever see that?
No,
it's pretty pretty it's pretty much like that, because there's these two people and they each have, you know, their perspective of the same story.
Yeah.
And one of them's telling it one way, the other one's telling it another way, and they're telling it to a police officer, you know, but there's a lot of discrepancies in the story, so you don't know if someone's lying, you know, because there's so many different details. So it might seem that one of them is lying, but so it's interesting how they do that. And even like there's movies like, did you ever see Go? Did you ever see the movie
I actually
Go?
like that movie.
Yeah. There's little bits of that where, you know, these different stories connect, and then you see the opposite perspective of vantage point. There you go. Yeah.
I bought this for like $1. It's still wrapped in a wrapper. The thing is that I bought it specifically because of that. Because in case I ever wanted to do that, then you know, just whenever I'm writing a character, like if I'm writing an assassin, how are you going to get a lot of fucking research on assassins? How many assassins do you know they're going to invite you over and tell you what they do and how they do it?
No, exactly. You gotta see movies. You gotta read other books. You gotta That's the only way to do it.
You have to go, but you have to find as much bullshit as you can possibly find, and hope to get out the stuff that's most realistic, but it's probably still bullshit.
Right.
And hope that nobody calls you out on it.
Right. And if they do that, it's great, because now you actually know what it's about, and now you know the true story.